talented musicians. And Sherry can go either way. She can go classical violin or she can go bluegrass country. Announcements. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't forget Rick. Don't forget Rick. Okay. Rick Williamson will now come on up and read the Daily World. Oh. World.
When you're dyslexic, they're all the same. That's right. Good morning. Good morning. Gosh, everybody looks so happy. All right. Today's word. They should change the name of this. This is pray for others, which, by the way, is not a word. It's actually a phrase. Just random thoughts there. Huh? Just saying, yeah. All right. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and in mine. I am honored by the trust of those who ask me to pray for them. Whatever I am asked to pray about, my responsibility is always the same: to recognize all qualities of God are active, even in the most challenging circumstances. I remain steadfast affirming this truth. If I have been asked to pray for healing, I release all thoughts of illness. I affirm divine life is active in every cell. I see harmony and perfect function restored. I lost my place. There it is. If I am praying for abundance, I entertain no thought of lack. I affirm divine wisdom, love, and understanding guiding the one with whom I pray to make wise and prospering choices. As I affirm truth for all who have asked for prayer, my awareness of God's activity in my life increases as well. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health, just as it is with your soul. 3 John 1:12. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Rick. And I apologize to y'all. I had my 50th high school reunion this weekend, and I talked too much, and I'm tired. So y'all forgive me if I mess up. Rick doesn't have that excuse. Just teasing you. He was talking a lot to me before we started. Okay, so announcements are on the slide and are found on the back of the bulletin. Drumming is after church today. Djembe drumming is after church, so please join over in the fellowship building. This Thursday, Yoga for Spiritual and Mental Balance will be on Zoom at 9 a.m., and I am the instructor. No, this is not Hatha Yoga. This is a prayerful, meditative, breath, rhythm yoga. And part of what we do is, besides praying and meditating for each other, for our family members, for our friends, is that we pray and we meditate for peace in the world and for a balance in the world. The Maharishi effect is a hypothesis, but it's being researched by quantum physicists now. And what the statement is that if at least 1%, or should I say only 1%, of this planet, that's about 70 to 75 million people, would pray for peace in group and in mass, that we can affect major changes just by our thoughts, our beliefs, and our words. And as I've said before, back in the 60s, hippies really did levitate the Pentagon. Not really. I heard later. It was a real disappointment, but I always wanted to believe that. Okay, and when Judy comes up, she's going to explain to us why we have all these dolls that you're seeing around us that she and Sherry have collected. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, we have Unity bags on sale for $5 donation, and let's all sing One in Spirit.
We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit, we And all praise to the Spirit who makes us one. And they'll know we are one family by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are one family by our love.
Thank you so much. If anyone has specific prayer requests, we have a prayer box at the back of the room that has prayer request forms that you can fill out. Place your prayer request form in the box so that we can pray for them here and at Silent Unity. And now, Reverend Judy will come on up and talk to us today about some important things. Thank you.
Marquis is coming up in just a moment, but first I want to tell you what all these dolls are about. Aren't they cute? They are just adorable. Sherry, Shelby, our friend Bobby from afar, and myself collected these because we thought they were just so sweet and that they were going to attract a lot more kids. And look what happened this morning. I had a conversation with one of the boys, and I won't mention him. He was too old. I tried to give him one of the boy dolls, and he was having nothing of it. And I said, well, don't you think he's cute? And he said, no. But his sister said he really believes he's cute. He'd just be embarrassed to take him from me. But before we ask Marquis to share about how these principles that we teach worked in his life and continue to work in his life, I just want to mention another thing that I did this week, and some of you are already aware of it. I woke up Monday morning and decided that I needed to help Nay get a van. She brings all of these children and makes 2 or 3 trips to do it. She has an old vehicle that's pretty much on its last leg. Maybe last tire, I guess that would be. I don't know what you say about that. But I said, and this was just something that I knew was inspired, and it didn't come from my anything else but God. I knew it. So I just went ahead and did something about it. And I said, I just put it out there in the universe on Facebook and wherever, email, whatever I could say, is that I'm donating $2,000. I personally am going to do that, just right from my personal account, not even asking my husband to chip in, but he already said he was. Of course, he's going to help us find the vehicle. And so I would just ask that anyone that feels drawn to do this, it's a need. She hauls these children around and they need to be safe. She takes them to a lot of places during the week. She's serving Feed My Sheep this coming Saturday. She and the children picking them up. So would you pray with me? Would you just pray with me for the highest good about this? And if you do decide you want to contribute, you can write it to Unity of Gulfport, and it will be a taxable donation. And then when we work together to make certain, her organization is non-taxable as well. So we will make certain that it all goes for that van. And several men in the congregation are already helping to look for one. So whatever you feel compelled to do. Now it's my pleasure to introduce one of the most important people here, and that is Marquis Bumpus. Come on up.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing today? All right. I just want to talk to y'all today about the importance of just staying positive and just focusing on what you want to do in life and anything that you're trying to do for us. Is it a job or is it anything that you want, any career that you're trying to do? You just staying positive and anything can happen. I just want to let you know that I have been trying to get this particular job for about 6 months to almost to a year. And every day, I just was trying to stay positive, just meditating on the word. Anything that comes in my way, I try to just block it out and just stay positive. And some of the stuff I was doing was just meditating, just going to a quiet place, either going to the beach, taking a walk like Miss Judy said she liked to do, going somewhere quiet and just meditating on what it is that you want to do, blocking everything out, open up that pineal gland and just let it flow in. And another thing I was doing, just staying away from negative energy. Anybody or anything that's trying to deter you from what you're trying to do, saying that you can't do this, saying that you can't do that, you have to block that out. You got to just get around positive people like in this environment. I love coming here every Sunday. It gives me the strength and the power and the knowledge just to keep going throughout the week, and I'm around loving, positive people. And that just kept me motivated. And the next thing you have to do, you just got to visualize what it is that you're trying to do. You have to actually see it. You have to taste it, smell it, whatever it is you got to do, and just put yourself in that place, and eventually it will happen. And another thing I like to do is just affirming every day, like the daily affirmation that we do every Sunday. I try to keep that just embedded in my brain, in the back of my head every day, and wake up and just affirm everything that I want. And especially for the kids, I just want to let y'all know, y'all got a lot of life ahead of y'all, and y'all just in the right spot, and y'all just don't know y'all got all the keys to do what y'all need to do. So just focus, meditate on what it is you want to do. You want to be a teacher, basketball player, whatever you want to do, a lawyer. Just visualize it, see it, meditate on it, and it'll happen. Thank y'all guys, and I want y'all to have a great day.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is there is only love, love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, what it seems I've lost my way. When I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only there is no love that heals, love sets. 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 There is no
youth to stay in. Because I wanted them to hear youth to stay in. Because I wanted them to. He, of course, handles our live streaming, and I wanted them to. He, of course, handles our live streaming, and I wanted them to. He, of course, incredibly important live streaming, and I wanted them to. He, of course, incredibly important live streaming, and I wanted them to. He, of course, incredibly important live streaming, and I wanted them to. He, of course, incredible community college that he'd been waiting for some time. We're excited about that. Okay, so what I'm talking about today is life is an echo. What you send out comes back to you. How about that? Yeah, life is an echo. What you send out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. We need to really be careful about that when we're criticizing someone else. Remember the lens through which you are looking. And many times if it's a mirror, there will be a finger pointed right back at you. Regardless of who you are or what you do, if you're looking for the best way to reap the most rewards in all areas of your life, look for the good in every person, every situation, and adopt the golden rule as a way of life. And what is that? That's the rule that Jesus of Nazareth gave us when he said, "Do unto others as you would have others do unto you." And that's not just in deeds, but that's in words and thoughts. When you find yourself having a thought of somebody as a corrupt person and a horrible person and this, that, and the other, could you stop yourself right in the middle of it and see that person as a child of God? Perhaps they're on this earth doing what they're doing, so it will be a lesson to you. So maybe when you turn that around, you can say, I'm thankful for this other person, because had it not been for what they're doing, I might have fallen into some vague way of doing the same thing. Not exactly that, but maybe similar. There's always a lesson in whatever it is that comes your way. Florence Scovel Shinn was a New Thought writer, and she taught and she wrote some books. And I happened to be in Steve's class at 9 o'clock a few weeks ago, and he was reading some quotes from her one of her books. And she says, the game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. How about that? If I've been gossiping about someone else, I need to quit. I need to just stop. This is what I just absolutely love. It couldn't have happened at a better time. Curses like chickens come home to roost. Anybody seen any of that lately? You're cursing someone else, And the next thing you know, it's come back around to you. So be careful. The curses you send out to others. What is the law of giving and receiving? Well, let me first say what it's not, okay? In the last, I don't know, I guess 20 years or so, is that how long it's been? We've talked about the concept of the law of attraction has had so much, it's in the media everywhere, on television or books or whatever. And of course the law of attraction works, but one of the things it leaves out, it leaves God out of the equation totally. I think in the book, The Secret, they didn't even mention God until the last page. And we know that through the Old Testament and the New Testament, that there are words from many, many of the writers that spoke of the law of giving and receiving. And so that's what we're talking about today, and especially Jesus when he said, "Do unto others as you would have others do unto you." So what is the law? Or one other thing. It's not giving to get. Okay? So many times people give so they'll get something in return. They give only so they'll get something in return. And maybe it's a donation. And that's why I was careful to spell out, this isn't about me at all. When I mentioned just sponsoring this thing for Nay, not about me at all. Sometimes, though, people will do a donation so they can get credit for it in the news or whatever, or they'll do this. It's none of that. That has nothing to do with the law of giving and receiving. You give because you give from the heart. You give because you want to. You want to do it. Not because you're compelled to do it so you'll get something back or someone thinks you should. It's because you want to. So every day when we get up, we say, this is a wonderful day. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a wonderful day for me, and I'm bringing all my good to me today. Don't start out with anything negative. Because we're working with the law of giving, receiving. It's a universal law. There's a magnetic pull or energy in all things that brings to us what we send out. And we don't have to understand how it works. I don't. I'll be the first to tell you. I don't understand that, but I know it does. Because I've seen the results. The more you use it, the more obvious it becomes. I have 3 instances this week alone where I'd been praying for another. And how do I pray for others? We talked about that with the daily word today. There are no coincidences, right? I didn't know what the daily word was going to be. But when we pray for others, many times they've asked us to pray for them. But what we want to pray for is their absolute highest good. Their absolute highest good. And not have a preconceived notion in our own head what is their highest good. We don't know. Because their highest good may not be what we think it is. So we released that. But I had 3 instances this week, and they were pretty major, of where I could see that prayer works, giving works, and not for myself, but it works. What goes around comes around, is another saying. Some people call it the boomerang effect. What you throw out there is going to come back to you. There's an old Jewish joke that says there was a man who said to God, "This is terrible." And God says, "Terrible? Just wait, you haven't seen anything yet." So the man then says, "Well, this is great." And God says, "Great? You haven't seen anything yet. Just hang on." Can you relate to that? Anything in that you can relate to at all? So how does it work? What you send out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. I'd like to hold right now, just for a moment, if you would hold in your mind someone that you have really sent some hate vibes to this week. And I'm going to ask you if you're willing to send that person a blessing. To send that person a blessing. And then ask, if you would, God, could I see this person, could I see this situation with your eyes instead of the judgmental ones? I'm going to hold that person in love this week. Oh, and that lovely song, "There is only love." What does that mean? There is only love. Hold that in your heart for a moment too. How does that work with something that you have a grudge about at the moment? There's only love in the universe, and I'm going to send that out. I hold you in my heart. There may be someone that you would like to ask forgiveness of. Hold them in your mind's eye too. Say, "I'm truly sorry. It was not my intention to hurt you. I ask that you would forgive me. Thank you. I love you." And then place God right on it, that situation. You may have a situation in your life that is so difficult, and you and the others have totally different consciousness. And you may need to visibly take the scissors and cut those cords, right? You may need to do that. And I would ask you to do that now, if you would. Forgive them, but you may need to put some space between you and them. I wish you peace. I wish you love. I wish you well. I wish you prosperity and abundance in your life. As you go your way and I go mine, let us separate in peace, knowing that we don't need to occupy the same space together. at this moment in our lives. And continuing with the how does it work as you do unto others as you would have others do unto you. You unlock the golden principle of life. What will it do for you? It will improve your life in all ways. And it will bring peace of heart and mind. Sometimes we have a scarcity mentality. And I've been thinking that about that this week too. And it shows up sometimes in how we will look at things. Oh, I can't afford to do that. I can't possibly do that because it's something that you were formed with, your formation as you were a child. Well, I can't afford to give to somebody else. And the truth is, you can break some of those bonds anytime you want to. And what I'm talking about today indicates that sometimes you give when you don't even know you have anything to give or you don't have anything to give. I've seen people give when all they had was a can of corn on their shelf. But at least they had that. So they gave a quarter. I knew of a woman who was a young single woman struggling in every way, going to school, had a child to support, and could barely afford the vehicle she had and the rent that she paid. And she knew of a neighbor that had a need. She had a couple of neighbors, and they both were a bit limited. And they sometimes did things that weren't the wisest, but they had gone swimming in a lake. And these were young adults, just very young adults. He was swimming and he lost he had an upper for his teeth, and he lost it. Excuse me. And so this woman was talking to the neighbor about how difficult this was, and they weren't going to be able to afford to get those dentures for a long, long, long time. And this woman now, who barely scraped by, took $170. It's what she had in her savings account for herself and her child, and she took it and she gave it to them. And her life has been immensely, immensely blessed ever since that moment. And that man was able to go to the dentist, and I'm sure they gave him a little bit of a discount too. And he got a partial so that he could go to work and not be embarrassed. And sometimes, you'll say, well, I'll give when I can. No, that's not the way it works. You give now. Somebody will be sitting on a mountain of money, and they'll decide they're going to give $10 to a need or something, and you're thinking, well, where did that scarcity attitude come from? I don't know. I don't understand that. What sort of scarcity is that? Listen, I grew up poor too. Maybe it's why I understand. And my mom and dad, they weren't perfect. There were a lot of things not perfect about them, but we had an open door. And my mother fed the neighbors because they were hungry. Not because their parents worked and they should have fed them. She fed them because they were hungry. and they were children, and she didn't care what the parents did. And I'll tell you what the parents did. The mother worked and blew her money on whatever was coming down the pike, and the dad drank his money away. He made good money. He drank every bit of it away. And I remember my dad having a couple of conversations with him. The man's name was Wayne. And I remember him calling my dad in the middle of the night I need help, Dan. He's been arrested again or something, I need help. And I remember my dad helped him out of some situations several times. We'd go get him, he's at the jail or whatever. And the last time he called, woke my dad up in the middle of the night, everybody up. You had one phone that was in the living room, and woke the whole household up. And my dad says, Wayne, I need help too. Now you just learn how to help yourself. And he hung up on him. Now what did he do? He used his powers of wisdom and discernment to know this is an endless cycle, and this isn't helping anybody, especially him. And it's not helping his kids, his 6 kids that are sitting there with nothing to eat during the week, and he's drinking it away. Okay. And another thing is scarcity, thinking that the universe has only 1 or 2 opportunities for me, and that's it, and I'm not going to get any more. Okay? So don't have a scarcity mindset where you think, this is past, that's gone, I'm not ever going to get an opportunity again. Richard Branson said, opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. Okay? And if you're on a board of an organization, if you're on a committee, if you're head of a family, if you're in a team, in your own life, consider this, and to think anything else is to have a scarcity mindset. And all the great wisdom teachers have told us that we have the light within us and we can do what they did. Sometimes we refuse to know that. Send out only what you want to receive. Observe your thoughts, your words, your actions. Is this something you'd want to receive? Some of the thoughts you're sending out about another. Express gratitude daily. We have a cheerleader over here, Matt. Stand up, Matt. This is our Express Gratitude Daily cheerleader. Thank you. And if you want to know about that, you can ask him. Take note of all the things you're grateful for. If you're not grateful for what you have, you're not going to get more. Okay? Watch for synchronicities that prove this universal law. Reframe a scarcity mindset. There are no missed opportunities. Trust the universe to work its magic. And remaining open for the best. And indeed, what I want to do when I leave here on Sundays, if you see me during the week, if we're in a meeting, I have the full intention of walking the talk. Don't always do it, but it is certainly my intention. And since I have the young people's attention and they're sitting here and they have no choice but to listen to me, hey y'all, I want you to do what our friend Mark suggested, okay? He went through a pretty long time after he went to college and got his degree in video and visual arts. He's highly qualified at what he does. And you know what he did while he was waiting for the perfect opportunity to come? He remembered there was a light within him. He remembered the words of Jesus, "You can do what I do." And he stayed faithful and positive. I thank you so much for being here today. I thank you for supporting what we do and being in fellowship with all of us to want to make the world a better place. We're blessed you came. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Reverend Judy. Now we give expression to our appreciation for all that is offered here at Unity of Gulfport. Please take your offering in your hands and say along with me, "Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love and I trust in God." Thank you, and amen.
Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that sees who you are. We are of one mind. We are of one heart. Welcome to a place
That knows the truth, that God is everything. God is me, God is you. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God. Welcome to a place that knows you as God.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate it. And I'm thankful too. I forgot to mention, and I always like to say something about my husband. He says I throw him under the bus regularly. And there's always another one coming. He's the one back there with the arm sling. He had an accident and tore his shoulder in 2 places, but bless his heart, he's doing well and he doesn't complain. I only have to tie his shoes and help him button his shirt sometimes and button his pants and that sort of thing. It's like having a little boy again. Yeah. But we're just absolutely grateful, and I'm grateful for his attitude because he sure isn't a whiner. He's just gone with the program. We give thanks today for every person who is here or watching us online, and we just ask that their lives would be blessed in every single way. We give thanks for the generosity with which these gifts were given. We ask that they would be multiplied tenfold for the giver and the receiver, heaped up, pressed down, and running over. Amen. Okay, children.
joy.